Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Captain C.A. Richardson here, and as you saw earlier in the intro, I ran up to Sodium. That's right, I ran up to Sodium right here in Crystal River, and I picked up the new Shimano Stratic FM. Yes, the very reel that I spent some time at ICAST talking with Mr. J.P. DeRose about, who is the quintessential expert on all the technologies that are Shimano. If you haven't seen that video, we'll put a link below so that you can go check it out. But since then, I had one out in Louisiana with me. And as you can see right here, Dave Dankert and I caught some pretty nice fish on that reel. Well, I wanted a second reel because I know my wife is going to want to fish as we go down to the Florida Keys with some friends, Dave and Julie, next week. And I don't know if there's a better, more iconic workhorse reel in the Shimano lineup other than the Stradic series. And the new FM, well, I want to kind of reintroduce it to you. And now that I've got to fish it a little bit, talk about how I really feel about it. Let's go. So I had an incredible time out in Louisiana playing with one of these reels that Brian Dufik, the Southeastern rep for Shimano, left with me. And impressive reel. We caught some really impressive fish out there. If you follow along here on YouTube, you saw some of those catches. And even if you don't, if you follow along on social media, we were posting pics of some enormous fish, 40+ inch redfish. And I've always felt like the Shimano Stratic spinning reel has always been one of those overachieving reels. It's always been that workhorse reel, has the same reputation or vibe that on the casting side for Shimano that the Corrado has. So many of us trust this. Now, nothing has changed with this reel. I mean, it looks about the same as the old model, but it's much different. And here's why. It still possesses the long stroke spool, still has X-ship, still has micro module gearing 2, still has, X-Protect. It has a lot of the features like the 6+1 stainless or sealed anti-rust ball bearings. It has all those things that you would expect and that are going to be in a $200 reel, because this is priced at $199. But we added 4 new technologies, and after fishing it on those really big fish, 40-inch redfish, I've come to believe it is a difference maker. It's one thing when I was standing in ICAST talking to J.P. DeRose, who's like I said, he's the expert. He knows the technologies. He's utilizing this reel, catching some freshwater species and stuff. But I'm catching saltwater species. So for me, I really wanted to put it in the field and give it a rugged test. And I've set this brand new one up on a Terramar Double X because after having the one out there in the field, which I had to return, I wanted to get myself one. And I've got one. We're going to shoot some video with it tomorrow. But I feel a lot different about this reel now. I've got a lot more confidence. And in fact, in many situations where I might choose a 4,000 reel, or some of you might even pick a 4,500 for somebody else, this 3,000 Stradic does the job. I mean, it is bulletproof. And the first thing we're going to talk about is Infinity Cross. Let's talk about that right now. I'm going to tell you the difference, because this is one of those technologies that has trickled down from the very top, the flagship models, the Stellas, the Twin Powers, the XNs. This is it. Let's talk about Infinity Cross first. So we're going to talk about Infinity Cross first. Now, this is one of the technologies that has, again, cascaded down from the Stella series. Now, when it was explained to me by one of the engineers in the booth, Infinity Cross is where they've now made the tolerances between the drive shaft and the pinion gear where they interlock. They've made them so that their interaction has more surface area that touch. So now The overall durability of the gears is going to last a lot longer because there's not going to be a small wear point where you're going to get this loosey-goosey feel after a period of time. And then the smoothness of the reel is going to remain smooth. So the two benefits are you have a quieter, smoother reel that is just rigid and strong. And then over time, the wear is going to be across a greater surface, so it's going to feel that way for a much longer period of time. So this might be one of those reels that you never have to buy another one, but you know there will be another one. Now let's talk about Infinity Drive. This is another one of those trickle-down technologies from the Stella that you're going to need to know about. All right, Infinity Drive. If you're a huge Shimano fan like myself, you probably have some of the flagship reels and know that this had to be a total redesign to put it into here. Because the old way was to have the main shaft be supported by the pinion gears. And now they actually are, that main shaft is coated and it runs through. What does that do? Well, that gives this guts of the reel a lot more rigidity. So not only is the oscillation a lot smoother as the spool moves up and down, but when it's under a load, you've got a big fish on, like those big redfish that you saw in previous videos. When you've got a big fish on, snook, it doesn't matter, hard running Jack Crevalle, bonita, whatnot, when this reel is under load, it is a lot easier to turn the handle and fight the fish. You don't have those sticky spots because now it's not putting strain on the guts anymore, the gears. It's nice and smooth and rigid, and the tolerances are just as tight as some of those flagship models now. So they really have redesigned this reel. Now I'm really excited about telling you about this Duracross drag that we've got now. It's a little bit different from the Cross Carbon. Let me show you. Duracross drag. Now this technology from Stella is really cool because it literally extends the life of the drag washer by 10 times over the previous Stradic edition. 10 times. And it's smoother, dissipates heat faster, well, and your experience is even greater. And the way they did it is they melded both the carbon washer and the felt washer into one washer. And when I saw the tests that Shimano had sent out to us to watch, and you could see the heat and the pressure they were putting on it, it was amazing to watch it eat up a felt washer. And the new felt carbon washer was so much tougher, stronger. And not only does it hold up well, it did perform well. And out there in the field when we were catching the big fish, I'm putting lots of heat on them with them running through the grass. And I'll put a little bit of that video in this. It's just amazing, amazing how smooth this reel truly is. Now the last little technology that dropped down was that little anti-twist fin, and I'll try to get it up in here where you can see it. You can see it right under the roller bearing there. This is something that is in Stella, in their series, and it does reduce twist and wind knots and whatnot, especially if you're a fluorocarbon guy, a mono guy, fishing a lot, like JP would tell me, those slackline presentations. But as a finer braid guy, I don't find it to be that big a deal for me. It doesn't bother me that it's inside the bail right there, but if you want to remove it, just take your pliers out, stick it right in there, your needle nose, and you can pop it right out, and you're done. Doesn't make a big impact at all on the performance of the reel. If you like what you see here on FlatsClass YouTube, you're learning stuff. It's not just about product information or reviews. It's also about me teaching you tips that you can take into the field and catch fish tomorrow. Give us that thumbs up because those likes help us trend. And for goodness sake, subscribe. I want you here in my virtual classroom every day. I said every day, not every week. Every day. Every day we put a video out. And the faster we accomplish our goal of 50,000 subscribers, Well, I'll have a shooter, an independent shooter with me, where we can go and take you to places like Louisiana, like I'm going to be taking you to the Florida Keys this week. Just different places where we can do this full-time content creation only for our fans. All right, till tomorrow. I'm going to get over here and start working on the next video.